Nearly there. Getting there. All done. Very good. So good morning, all of you. Lovely to see you as ever on a Monday morning. Um, Today's class, as I was cycling along and I was pondering about just stuff as you do, and it struck me as the as the mobile kept phoning, and I had to keep stopping the bike and fumbling in pockets and trying to take it out with gloves on and the rain kind of coming down. And I would say, honestly, the liver energy rising a little bit, slight exasperation. How it's very easy for one's nerve endings to get stretched, as it were. I always think, the whole body, the whole mind-body matrix, it's almost like an instrument we play, like a stringed instrument in particular is a good analogy. And although we need a little bit of right effort in everything, we need that little bit of, I won't call it tension, but that effort to draw things along. Oh, there's a very fine tuning point, isn't there? Where you can very easily slip over to the other side where everything's a bit too taut, as it were. Now, it kind of follows that our mind is going to feed how we then respond in the body, or rather react in the body. So today's class is really to explore that a little bit in doing stretching, in moving, but in particular in stretching, holding, pausing, how we actually play this instrument of the body. And are we, how to say, using these moments to understand, that dialogue, that reciprocity that we create with each breath, with the way we set our mind towards ourselves. At the same time, this practice will be quite a nice one to pacify a little bit overzealous or overexerted liver energy. Liver being the element of wood, it connects to our tendons, our tissues, our joints. A bit like a tree, even though there's a lot of strength in that structure of the tree, there's still a lot of suppleness, a lot of give. Using our breath, you can almost imagine the breath like the wind, blowing through the forest, as it were, blowing through this architecture, and slowly just letting anything that we don't need float away. So whatever is left is supple, be that in the mind, a pliant, fluid mind, that's able to bend, that's able to be flexible, that's able to change points of view and embrace change, alongside in the body, a supple, more flexible body, that even if it's not reaching to that point somewhere out on the carpet, or that point that we've kind of created in our imagination, it doesn't matter, because our mind is in flow and able to adapt to whatever comes our way. So that's where we're going this morning. You're ready in sitting. Just take a moment to bring hands up to prayer. And with your hands connecting to your heart and your eyes shutting, we'll take a few deep breaths inwards. And in doing so, draw our attention, our awareness, away from what lies on the surface of our life at the start this new week, stretching out ahead of us. And a few moments of gratitude. Thanks, really, for this time, for giving to ourselves. Be present with this glorious work of creation that we are in this moment, right now. Now interlace your fingers up at the heart, and breathing in, we'll stretch the palms out and away from us. So you're creating a big circle of energy. And then breathing in, we're going to gather that energy, turning palms towards us and drawing the palms back in to the heart. Another in-breath. And we'll take the palms away from us. Make sure you've still got a bit of bend and curve through the arms. It's a hoop-like shape rather than a rectangular shape through the arms. Out breath. Palms coming back in. Now separating the interlace of the fingers, so the hands are still connected with one another, but they're no longer interlaced, so fingertips touching one another. And in breath, the eyes can open this time as we stretch the arms out and away. And out breath, we're gathering that energy back into the heart. We'll do that one more time. Nice deep warming breaths. Out breath, easing back into the heart. Now breathe in there and making a little bowl-like shape with the hands. And breathing into this space, letting your energy collect, gathering it up. And your next out breath, we're going to guide some of that energy down with a nice hoo sound through the mouth, so H-O-O. In breath, rising up to the heart, another hoo sound. So using these kind of sounds, they're healing sounds in a way. This one's said to pacify liver energy, tonifying the liver. This is all coming from Chinese medicine. See your meridian lines. We'll do one more. And then drawing your knees up together. And we'll stretch the legs out in front of us. And a few breaths, hands by the sides of the body. Now, if you draw you're having a mind block, if you draw your shoulders up towards your ears and breathe in, so your fingertips are just touching to the mat and you've got strong line of the legs. Breathe in, draw into your belly and just pause there. Hold the breath in for a moment. No asphyxiation. Out breath. Through the mouth and a harsh sound this side, so clearing the heart. In breath, shoulders drawing up, right up onto the fingertips if necessary. Breathe in, draw into the belly, pause. Strong backs of the legs. Ha, H-A-A through the mouth. And one more. The legs still where they are. You can put a bit of bend in the knees if that's more comfortable to soften the backs of the legs. A big in-breath, arms will stretch up. We're taking a V-like shape, again that little bit of bend through the elbows. So here, we're connecting sky down to the heart, down to earth. Big in-breath, lift up into your chest and lift up into the back of the spine. Will feel quite strong. Just breathe with that. One more. And with your next in-breath, reaching up through the hands again and breathing out, we guide that energy downwards. And reach out, backs of the palms facing outwards towards the feet. Then you can turn your hands round. Your hands could come to rest on the legs, either sides, calves, knees, feet, doesn't matter where. Again though, we'll take that little bit of bend through the elbows. So if you notice you are reaching forward, do make sure that you're drawing back a little bit to make sure you've still got bend through the arms. Breathe in, lift up, breathing out, folding. So the point being with the bend in the arms is that then you're not reaching too far. It's almost like then softening those habits to strive a little bit. to try to become, reach that superlative point, and just kind of taking the body back a step. So you're holding that space of ease, which is something that is rooted deep within you rather than living up in the mind somewhere as a thought. Just put a bit of sway for the next breath or so from side to side in your forward fold. And now we're going to work up our spleen meridian. We're giving ourselves a little leg massage, fingers squeezing either sides of the legs, in particular though, the inner sides of your legs, so the inner edges of your calves. Now, I speak for myself here, I've got so many little sore points as I move my way up then. Spleen being really useful for the stomach, our digestive systems, how we assimilate stuff, not just food and nutrition, but all the thoughts, all the information we're fed day to day, lots of which we're not even aware of on that kind of subliminal level. Just tonifying the spleen, it helps to regulate blood flow, filter blood. We'll kind of bring the hands all the way up into the crease of the thighs. And then, last little bit of self-care here, hands coming around to the backs of the kidneys. And we're giving them a nice rub. Nice circles either sides of the spine to warm up the base of the lower back, the kidneys. Kidneys being responsible really for our life essence in Chinese medicine. So that Jing kind of sense of, the essence, the vitality, that takes us forward. Which obviously as we get a bit older, it gets a little bit depleted. Also as the cold weather settles in, kidneys can become a bit depleted. We can suffer from tiredness, fatigue with the less light in the days. So coming back into your seated position, now take your soles of the feet inwards towards one another. So you're coming into a seated butterfly. Now we bring the fingers now down to the soles of the feet and placing your fingers right in the middle of the sole of the foot, just below that line of the ball of the foot and the lower part of the foot. The flesh kind of changes colour. And if you trace down from your big toe, second toe, just in between the two, you'll bring your thumb to that kind of point. And now you're using your thumbs to prise open the soles of the feet. You'll notice as you'll do so, there's all sorts of openings in the inner groin. Now, rather than just calling this seated butterfly, I'd like to call it melting butterfly. So you want the wings of your legs to melt outwards, rather than feeling you've got to push them. Nice effortless sitting here, even if you feel pockets of tension, tightness, lower spine. Just another breath or so to breathe into those areas. Can you soften them? So even though the tightness may still remain and feel quite rigid, with the softness and warmth of the breath, you're bringing a little bit more pliancy into those parts. In breath, lift up. And out breath, we fold forward. Again, that little bit of bend through the arms. And you can let your head go heavy here. As you arrive in a seated butterfly forward fold. And let your breath arrive in the back of the body here. Breathe out to your kidneys, the sides of the waist. With your next in-breath, lift your way up to sitting. Take your knees up together. We're going to come round and onto all fours. Now we arrive on all fours, a nice neutral spine, hands split quite wide. Now use your belly muscles here so you get lift around this belt, around the navel. So you're not letting that belt sag downwards. If I do that, you can kind of see the difference. That's a bit like a saggy bookcase. So you want to support the lower end of that bookcase by drawing up into the belly. And once you're there, you can take your pelvis, holding that support through the core from side to side. A nice sway through the pelvis. But activating your belly muscles to keep that lift. Stoke the fire in the belly. Nice, long, deep breaths. And with your pelvis swaying from side to side and keeping that lift, undulate the spine into S-like shapes from side to side. So now you're bringing the whole spine into action here rather than the pelvis. Let the energy moving along the spinal column. Make sure you're drawing S's both sides of the body, not just the one. See if you can find a symmetrical reflection within the movement of the spine from one side to the other. And then with your out breath, lifting through belly with your pelvis back to heels. And we're pausing there. Pelvis easing towards heels, arms stretched out in front, gazing forward. Couple of deep breaths into the abdominal chamber. Wave-like breathing through the body. Now the next in-breath, we're going to slide forward, keeping the belly as close as we can to the mat to arrive into Cobra. And from Cobra, we lift our way into Down Dog. So an in-breath, you're sliding into your Cobra. From Cobra, we lift all fours, toes tuck under, up and into Down Dog. A little bit of bend through the knees, a little bit of bounce through the balls of the feet. And I'd like you all to check that you're really on the balls of the feet. Can you lift your toes off the mat whilst you're here in the stance, just a fraction off the mat? Once you've got the toes lifted, you know that you're then balancing on the balls of the feet rather than the toes. Then relax the toes after that, another bit of bounce. Now following your in-breath, with the in-breath, we'll draw the sit bones forward and we're going to arrive in a plank-like shape. Doesn't matter if your plank has a bit of lift up through the lower body. Breathe there for a breath. Drop the knees down. Keep that lift through the belly to come back to your heels. Pause on the heels. And we'll repeat that sequence again, drawing through into Cobra. Lifting up, Down Dog. Keep lifting through your belly. Toes tucking under. And you're arriving up in a bit of a bounce in Down Dog. We'll take another big sign out breath through the mouth. Then when you're ready to, we'll start to come through into our plank. So with the in-breath, a slow drawing forward through the pelvis. This time keep your toes tucked under as you drop your knees down. And with your out-breath, toes tucked under, we're easing back towards the heels again. When you're ready to move from here, again, we'll come through into Cobra. Breathing in and lifting our way up all fours into Down Dog. But this time, rooting down through the balls of the feet, backwards into the heels. Couple of breaths in, down dog, drawing upwards, easing into the lines of the body. Now, playing the body now as that musical instrument, we'll lift up the heels and then breathe your way out, the heels down again as you breathe out, opening up the lines of the body. You're lifting your sit bones high, drawing thighs up, back, rooting down into the fingertips. It's like you're lengthening out the lines of the body. Another in breath. And then we're going to walk the hands back towards the feet. Use your core muscles here to support you until you find yourself in a forward fold, and we'll then bring the hands around to the backs of the legs, and we're going to slide down towards the feet. Once you're there, take your elbows out to the sides of the body again, into your forward fold. Again, playing these lines through the body. See how it feels to draw upwards through the backs of the legs. You're lifting up through your sit bones. And does that give you any more give along the spine? So let it relax down the length of the legs. In the next breath or so, we'll start to come up to standing. Breathing in, we're stretching arms skywards. And pausing there, a big deep V-like shape. Chest to sky, lift up through the back of the body. Connecting sky to heart, to earth. And out breath, hands can float down the center line, guiding them back to the heart. A little bit of bend through the knees now, little fist through the hands. Breathing in, we'll lift skyward, straightening up as we do. Elbows out to either sides of the body. Little back bend here. Breathe in. The out breath, we're going to take the palms forward. That whole sound again to cleanse liver. And let the arms float out behind us. Gathering up again, breathe in and lift up through the body. Straighten up the legs. Little back bend, breathe in. Palms offered forward. As you sweep them down, your hips are coming forwards here. There's a bit of curve through the back. You're drawing up into the belly as you do so. It's not coming into a forward fold. It's almost like a curve-like shape. Breathe in, lift up again. And out breath. And we'll do one more. Another big in-breath, and now stretch your arms up skywards. So reaching up above the head. Once you're there, left hand will catch hold of your right wrist. Now draw that right arm over, stretch out into your fingertips. Let your body sway like a tree out to the right hand side. Now, as much as you're opening up this outer edge of the body, see if you can find lift up and into this underside of the body as well. Both hips facing forward rather than twisting. And arriving back to your center line, catch hold of your left wrist, and lifting up and into that side stretch, whilst also drawing energy up this underside of the body. We'll take a few breaths on this side. Arrive back to your center line, open up both arms, lift up, and out breath, find your way down and into forward fold. Now give yourself a couple of breaths there in your forward fold. Aha, one leg was off, there we go. In your forward fold, make sure you've got that little bit of bend out through the arms, either sides of the body. Make sure you're facing the top of your mat so you've got space to step back. And now bend your knees, hands down either sides of the feet, and we'll step the right foot back, a big step back here. Now again, we want to find the ball of the foot. So can you lift your toes up a little bit on that back foot? And then you can relax them down, but then you know you've really got the ball of the foot in contact with the floor. Now you can see in my spine, it's a little bit curved. So if you note that, you may want to drop the pelvis a little bit. You don't have to there. Just kind of open up the lines of the body. So again, this is a big stretch. So do kind of work within your parameters. At the same time, almost like you're teasing out a piece of elastic. Just see where the resistance lies within the body. Now, in the same way as you don't want to, when you're trying to, tease an elastic band over an old board game, to keep it held together, you don't want that elastic band to break or snap or become too taut. So you're going to have to move a little bit from side to side, maybe, or just keep a nice soft breath to make sure you're not tensing as you come up against the lines of the body. And it may feel quite like a forwards and backwards. You kind of touch a point of resistance. It feels intense, maybe a bit too intense, and then you have to kind of soften it and move away from it. So in this way, we're kind of familiarizing ourselves with what lies within us. Not trying to control it at all. Just coming to a deeper acceptance where our mind is at in relation to the body. Now, next round of breath, we're going to put that little bit of bounce back into the right knee. Then when we've done that for a few rounds of breath, we're going to straighten up the front leg. Now, there'll quite naturally be a bit of bend in that front leg, and you may want to, I've got a couple of blocks here, you may want to bring blocks either sides of your front foot, so you can put your hands on them or cushions or something to lift yourself up. That may not feel that comfortable, fingertips to the mat and the bend of the front knee. Now we're playing this front line here, so it's up to you how you draw it up to lift your pelvis up. You want to feel like there's a string at the back of your pelvis, and that's following this line of the leg up and out behind you. And we're now taking a couple of rounds of breath here. I do recommend a little bit of bounce through the body. It kind of follows that when you're bouncing, a bit like Tigger and Winnie the Pooh, it's actually really hard to be tense. Or it's like you're shaking out the tension out of the body. Nothing needs to be rigid here or, kind of serious about it. You can just let the body find its own rhythm, find its own parameters. Keep anchoring down into your feet. Lovely. Then rooting both hands down, either sides of that front foot. We're now going to drop the front knee down. And front knee down, we're drawing back, a little runner's lunge, drawing forwards. Do put some padding under this back knee if you just know it feels comfier. Do make sure you're cozy here as you're doing this, or make everything feel a lot easier. And in a sense, you'll probably kind of find the body's more pliant when you do put those, points of support, those props in place. Next round of breath. And we're now going to step back and into down dog. So left leg stretches out and back. We're back into down dog. Put a little bit of free movement in your down dog. And we're going to walk the feet up towards the top of the mat. Once you're there, forward folding and arms can lift up off the floor. Palms facing up towards you, like you're holding a little cup, like you want to drink water from a pool or a stream with the hands. Then you can bring the hands to the back of the skull. And once you're there, thumbs coming to the ridge of the skull with the neck, your occiput ridge. And you can just run the thumbs underneath it then, just easing any tension there, a bit like you'd open a valve in a pressure cooker. Now, coming to rise when you're ready, let go of the skulls, start to breathe in, draw upwards with the hands. And breathing out, we stretch the hands either sides away from us, fingertips pointing out, and arms coming back down. A little bend through the knees. We'll gather chi up to the top, breathe in. Breathing out, we're letting that settle downwards, guiding our awareness back down to our roots, down to the belly. In breath, gathering up. And the out breath, letting everything settle. Another in breath. Now another big in breath, and we'll lift up the arms as we stretch up and into a back bend. Arms will come overhead. We'll breathe in, draw up through the chest. Now remember your belly to spine here. And then breathing out, guiding energy down, scanning through the body, all the way down and into a forward fold. The hands are going to plant down to the mat again. And you're framing the feet. And this time, we're taking a big step back with the left foot. So take your time to get there. And again, as we were doing earlier, we're drawing into the runner's lunge. So you're kind of starting the space where your spine feels quite curved. It's up to you how much you lower down. Do make sure though, this front knee, it's a right angle shape rather than lunging forward too far into the knee joint. So no more than a right angle through the front knee. Yeah? Now, back leg stretching out nice and strong. Draw up into your belly. Opening up the lines of the body. And when you're ready to, we'll put that little bit of bounce into the back leg. Nice, long, deep breaths. Now take your time from here to find your way up and into the forward fold. So again, we're playing this front leg here. At the same time as we're drawing our pelvis up and back, we're lifting up through this front leg. Just helping to draw up into the pelvis, helping to anchor the back foot. We can relax into a forward fold down the front leg here. And again, playing your lines of the body, making sure nothing is too taut within the mind, within the body. And if you notice it is, there's a tension, a kind of certain strain, as it were, almost irritability within the body. And just allowing that to soften, bringing the soft water, soft flow of the breath, like water, to soothe that. Next rounded breath. And the back knee will drop down. Remember your padding if you'd like to use some. And then we're just easing in and out of this runner's lunge on the front leg. You can take your time here. You can go as deep or as, as slowly, as softly as you feel to go. But just make sure that you're enjoying it, rather than feeling like, there's a bit of a battle going on within the body, with the mind towards the body. And then with your next round of breath here, we'll bring the hands down. And from here, rooting up through the back leg, we'll step back and into down dog again. Now lift up your heels as high as you can. Breathe out and root down both heels to the mat. Anchor down hands, heels towards the floor. Draw belly to the base of the spine. One more breath. And then drawing the knees forward to come down onto all fours. And we arrive into cat and cow through the spine. So with the out breath, you're curving up, again lifting the belly up towards the base of the spine. And breathing in, lengthening out, lifting up into the chest. So with the next in-breath, we're going to come back to the heels. And we just pause there for a moment. A little softening through the elbows. And then breathing in and looking forward, we'll take the spine forward, arriving into a cobra, and arriving back down on the mat. And arriving on the mat, we'll then bring forearms underneath the elbows, and we're lifting up into Sphinx here. So you've got your feet stretching out, legs stretching out behind you, elbows underneath shoulders. Now it's easy to let the spine and chest collapse here. So we're lifting up almost like there's a light in the front of the chest, and that's shining forward. And we'll take a few breaths here. Letting our breath move down into the belly. Now have a couple of rounds of breath here. If you want to come into seal there, your hands are where they are. You can move them a bit wider, maybe even a little bit further forward. And then from there, we lift up, elbows straighten. So I could carry in the next couple of rounds of breath in Sphinx, or else lifting into seal, being careful of the lower spine, relaxing into the lower spine. And breathing out, we come back down again to the mat. So make a little pillow for your forehead here, so you can rest it on there. Bend your knees We'll just windscreen wash over the legs from side to side. And legs coming back down again. Hands underneath the shoulders. And breathing in, lifting into a cobra. Breathing out, we'll tuck under the feet and we're coming to sit back and on the heels. Again, quite a strong asana here, and do use your hands down on the floor or on blocks. Take a little bit of weight off the body. But if you do lift up or bring the weight a little bit off the blocks or the floor, you're going to feel the line of energy opening up in the soles of the feet. So again, this is a line to play. Letting our eyes shut. And breathing in, we'll lift the hands up over the head into a big V-like shape. Now keep anchoring the pelvis back towards your heels. Feeling the contrast. Feeling the connection between your hands in the sky and your feet on the earth. And whilst there is sensation in between, maybe strong sensation, feeling that contact between spirit and earth. Out breath, we'll draw the hands down. We're going to bring hands back down to the mat and onto all fours. So just lift up your legs and wiggle your toes, get the blood moving back into them. And flex them a little bit. And then, coming into a comfortable seat, I'm going to come back into kneeling because we're already kind of here. Just like us do a little bit of spinal flexing in a seated position to get energy moving up along the spine. So out breath, you're drawing the pelvis back and the spine is curving all the way so you feel it up in the top of the chest, top of the spine, chin tucked in. Then breathing in, we're opening up through the spine, chin lifts to the sky, and then breathing out, completing that circle, curving around. So wave-like breathing between one and the other. It's like you're creating a circle of breath. Letting our energy circulate freely through the body. Think about all these energy channels, a bit like a central heating system, and some of them get a bit blocked, a bit like a central heating system, where they don't circulate the energy, the warmth within the body, our vitality, that effectively can become a bit tepid, a bit lukewarm, or a bit too hot in one room, but not the other. So all of this is just trying to open up these lines. The central heating inner system of the body to get everything flowing a little bit more freely. And also to make sure we're stoking the boiler down in the belly, rather than, how to say, the fire burning too high in the head, taking some of that electricity from the head downwards into the rest of the body, as it were, metaphorically. And with your next round of breath, we'll take the legs out in front of us again. With legs out in front of us, we're going to step the right foot over the left. There's a bend through the right knee. It doesn't matter if that's uncomfortable, you can always bring the right leg to the left-hand side of the leg. You can even bring it down and just connect the right foot into the left foot. You even put something underneath this knee to support it. It doesn't matter what shape you create here. The work is coming at the belly. I'm going to hug in this right knee with my left arm really nice and tightly. And with the right arm, I'm going to stretch up and over. Right hand coming down behind. Now draw up into your core here. Stabilize the core, belly to spine. Flex this left foot, so it's a nice strong left leg. And now start to evolve into your twist. The twisting isn't coming through the pelvis. The base of the body staying very stable. The twisting's coming through the torso of the body. It's like you're squeezing tension, wringing out tension through the abdominal cavity. Now contact with earth, both sit bones connecting to the mat. And arriving back round in the center line of the body. So we're going to take this leg, we'll just realign it a little bit, stretching it out, bending it in. And then we'll stretch the right leg down to the mat. This time using the left leg as the lever, we'll plant that over the right. Again, anchor both sit bones down. Maybe you can bring that left foot wherever you feel to, that's not comfortable. Hugging in the left knee with the right arm as closely to the core as you can. Now stabilize your core, belly to spine. Left arm can take that big circle up and behind. That's like your lever really, to start to draw the torso of the body into your twist, out towards the left. Let your awareness settle on the sensation that you're feeling down in the core of the body. Just notice a lot of energy, thoughts are stuck up in the head, and try to let that settle downwards with physicality of the body in contact with the earth. Let's use my flipping back, you can hear it. And you can arrive back round again to the front of the body. Now again, we're going to align this left knee, straightening it out, bending it in. And then bending both knees up, I'm going to hug around the back of the thighs. So your feet can be on the floor here if you prefer. You can lift the feet up, so you can just hang them a little bit. Now, easy for the spine to collapse here, so we're drawing up and into the belly to support the lower core of the body. We'll just rock a little bit from side to side here. Now from here, I'd like us to come into a forward fold. You can either stretch the legs out and then fold forwards. You just want to kind of come into a boat. We'll keep the feet where they are as we stretch the arms into the sky. And once you're there, you can straighten out the legs. If that feels too strong, do hug in the backs of the legs with the backs of the hands. Or you could bend the knees a little bit and just come into your boat with bent knees. So take your pick. The breath also there, belly to spine, sky to earth, feeling the heart in between. And then the knees can come down, the legs can, and breathing out, we fold forward and arrive into forward fold. Hands resting on legs or feet, nice hoop-like shape through the arms again. Now breathe in and lift up through the under part of the body, as well as along the spine. And then breathing out, few breaths in forward fold. Now we're playing lines again here through the body. Obviously strong lines through the body. Go very easily on your lower spine. Support your lower spine though with your belly. And playing those edges. Coming to a point where you feel sensation, enough sensation so you're aware of it. Just pausing there, letting your breath settle into that. And letting your out-breath guide you to go deeper. So follow the out-breath if you find there's any more opening to stretch into the body. Or if your body's saying no, this is quite strong enough, quite loud enough, the sensation is, then just pausing there, letting yourself settle into that point. Remember, a bit like a musical instrument, you don't want the sound to become discordant within the mind. So if you notice there's a bit of a clamoring or a screeching even or protest, kind of know that is really your body telling you something. And so then your role is to listen to that, reset that. That really is a tune that you want to be listening to, rather than one you feel you should. Next round of breath. And we'll slide the arms back up again. And actually just bringing the hands back down to the feet. And as we did before, we just squeeze up the legs. Just massage them out one more time. We come back up and into sitting. And as we are here, we just bring the hands over the tops of the kneecaps and we're just going to circle the kneecaps a few times. Your knees do tend to play up a little bit. This is really nice to bring the circulation down into them. Those little energy points either sides, kneecaps. You can take those circles the opposite way around the kneecaps. And then bending knees, swivel around if you are not on your mat or on the carpet or wherever you want to be. We'll hug the knees into the chest, coming down onto the spine. Just rock a little bit, one side to the other, across the base of the body. Then hands coming over the tops of the knees. Your fingers are pointing away from you. And breathe in, let your knees travel just as far as your arms are going to stretch. Then breathing out, your elbows will bend as you draw your knees back into the core. You can separate your knees a little bit here, so it's a bit more space to maneuver in. In breath, knees away, and out breath, drawing them back into the core. So it's a very simple asana, this is. Really rather profound in how it kind of really does touch and massage out all the abdominal organs here. But also, because the movement is so small, it's a real sense of creating a synergy within the body. Because bringing that movement into the flow of your breath, so you're coordinating in breath, knees away, out breath, knees towards you. Means you really are building a focus, a concentration, as it were, really guide the body. And because it is a small movement, the mind can start to become aware of the minutiae, different sensation within you. Almost like taking a camera lens and zooming in on the microorganisms of the world around us, rather than all the big displays of nature. Long, rich breaths down into the belly. When you're ready to bring your feet down, stretch out the legs and turn. Hands resting on the belly for a couple of moments. Your awareness settle within the core of the body. And then your arms can separate out. They're resting either sides of the body. Letting your body settle into relative stillness. As much as you feel contact along the back of the body with the earth, feeling the space around you. Contact with the sky. So if you'd like to carry on in your Shavasana, do feel free to do so. But if the rest of the day is calling you, then give yourself a few moments to bring movement into the body. Fingers, toes, maybe the neck from side to side. Deep breath, breathing in to stretch arms up over the head. You can breathe out through the mouth then, big yawn or sigh. And then arms can travel back down again. So from here, you'll bend knees, roll over onto the side of the body. Give yourself a hug there. And then finding your way up and into sitting. Arriving in sitting, one palm in front of the other, just in front of in the belly, in the lap. And breathing in, hands lifting up to heart. And breathing out, settle the energy back down in the core, center of gravity. our emotional centre of gravity as much as the physical. In-breath, hands to heart, and out-breath, guiding them back down. Letting our awareness settle within the body. Another in-breath. Resting one palm on top of the other, on top of the navel. Feeling your breath underneath the hands. And small circles around the navel. Settling the chi and the dantian. And from here, we'll lift palms up to the heart, bringing them into prayer. And bowing into the heart, gateway between sky, spirit and earth. And closing practice when you're ready. Thank you.